Chapter 17. Balancing Act. Getting your act together. Multiple streams? Multiple tasks? Multiple headaches. How can you possibly juggle all of the details of your personal life, family, fun, friends, plus handle the myriad details of your multiple streams of income? It can be overwhelming. Reminds me of the plate spinner. Remember him? He starts by spinning one plate on the top of a stationary stick. Then he spins another plate on a second stick. Then a third plate. By this time, the first plate has started to wobble, so he returns to respin it. Then the second and the third. He adds a fourth spinning plate and a fifth. Then he returns to respin any plate that is about to fall. He adds a sixth plate. You get breathless just watching him running around from wobbling plate to wobbling plate, respinning each just a split second before catastrophe. Does this sound like your life? Life didn't used to be this complicated. Makes you nostalgic for the 1950s, with one-income families and the security of lifetime employment. Sorry, somebody opened Pandora's box and out-stampeded 4 horsemen: global competition, the computer chip, the internet, and instant worldwide communication. It's a different world than the one our parents raised us in. We must adapt. Remember the old Chinese saying? Man who chases 2 rabbits loses both. If Confucius were alive today, he'd probably say, man must chase 10 rabbits in order to catch 3. Just remember, the money tree businesses you've learned about in this book are different than most businesses. These businesses are designed to eventually operate with little or none of your presence. Therefore, although they may take time to get up and spinning, they spin much easier and much longer by themselves. This gives you time to get another stream of income up and spinning. 21 time tips for the 21st century. But you still have to be more efficient than ever before. If you expect to be a one-person home-based business, every second has to count. Let me share with you how to squeeze the most amount of activity into the shortest period of time, so that you can have as much free time as possible. Let's set our goal managing at least 6 streams of income simultaneously on as little as 1 hour per day. You can spend the rest of your time shopping, golfing, whatever. Strategy 1. Remember that time is money. Have you ever heard the saying, time is money? Do you know what that means? It obviously doesn't mean that time equals money. If that were the case, we'd all be millionaires. But it does mean that time is like money. It's a scarce resource that, like money, has to be managed. I learned of a concept in a college economics class that I've never forgotten. It's called opportunity cost. Suppose a person only has $1,000 to invest. She can buy either investment A or investment B. She has to make a choice. By choosing A, she has to forfeit the opportunity of investing in B, and vice versa. Each decision requires a sacrifice. It's the same with time. You don't spend time, you invest it. You can invest your time in actions that bring you closer to your life's objectives or that take you further away. Each investment of your time carries an opportunity cost. Choosing one activity means you forfeit the opportunity to do something else. Time is the ultimate scarce resource. An hour spent in front of the TV takes away from time you could have spent in front of a computer writing your book, or in front of your son or daughter building a better relationship. There is an area in which time is not like money. You can save money, but you can't save time. When time passes, it's gone forever. Time wisely invested is like compound interest. Small daily deposits can multiply into a magnificent life. Benjamin Franklin believed in practicing 13 daily virtues. His first 2 virtues were industry and frugality. He said, "The way to wealth, if you desire it, is as plain as the way to the market. It depends chiefly on 2 words, industry and frugality. That is, waste neither time nor money, but make the best use of both." Good advice. Strategy 2. Focus on the critical few. In Chapter 3, I briefly introduced you to the 80-20 principle. Now let's go into more depth. To get right to the heart of your life, 80% of the things you do account for only 20% of your results. Conversely, 20% of the things you do account for 80% of your results. This is called the Pareto principle, after the Italian sociologist who postulated it over 100 years ago. It seems so simple but has profound implications. One writer referred to it as the critical few versus the trivial many. Because 80% of the things we do each day are trivial, almost a waste of time because they produce so few results, and 20% are critical, i.e. vital to our progress. Let's compare time to money. Suppose you only have $100 to invest, no more, no less. You buy 2 investments, putting $20 into investment A and $80 into investment B. A year later, you find that your $20 investment A has earned a profit of $80, while your $80 investment B has earned only $20. The results are as follows. Investment A, $80 profit, $20 investment equals 400% return. Investment B, $20 profit divided by $80 investment equals 25% return. In other words, each dollar invested in A earned 16 times more money than a similar dollar invested in B. 400 divided by 25 equals 16. One was a high leverage investment. The other, by comparison, was a low leverage investment. Is there any question about where your dollars should be concentrated? The same is true for time. Brian Tracy writes of a study in which an insurance company discovered that, in fact, 20% of its salespeople actually did account for 80% of the company's sales. Moreover, the average salesperson in the top 20%, those critical few, earned 16 times more money than the average salesperson in the bottom 80%. What were they doing differently? The employees in both groups started each day with exactly the same amount of time to spend, or invest, 24 hours, or 1,440 minutes, or 86,400 seconds. Tick-tock, tick-tock. How they invested this time had enormous implications in the results they produced. One group concentrated on high-leverage activities, those critical few tasks that yield rich dividends, while the other group got bogged down in the trivial, those time-sapping activities that produce few or no results. Knowing this, the key to your success is to practice the next strategy. Strategy 3. You must learn how to procrastinate. I'm not joking. Procrastination is absolutely essential to your success. You may have assumed that only the losers in this life procrastinate. On the contrary, the most successful people on this planet are also master procrastinators. Losers work on the 80% and procrastinate on the 20%. Winners do just the opposite. They immediately tackle the high-leverage 20% and procrastinate on the trivial 80%. It's said that Napoleon opened his mail only once a month. Why? Because if it was still important after a month, he attended to it. If not, it was just junk mail. He focused his time and energy on only those things that would take him more quickly and more surely toward his objectives, his purpose. And he procrastinated doing everything else. This is important enough to illustrate. Winners. 20% critical few. Do it now. 80% trivial many. Do it later. Losers. 20% critical few. Do it later. 80% trivial many. Do it now. Did you get that? Focusing on the critical few is a high-leverage activity. It gives you 16 times faster results. Strategy 4. Throw away your to-do list. If you're like most people, you start your day with a to-do list, which you create the same way every day. You try to make a comprehensive listing of everything you have to do. Then you start crossing things off as quickly as you can accomplish them. There's such an endorphin rush whenever you cross something off. It's almost orgasmic. But getting things done is not the same as getting the right things done. Very few people sit down to examine the nature of the tasks on their to-do lists. By definition, 80% of the items on your to-do list are trivial. Trivial activities are generally fun, fast, and frivolous. Call Bill to set up tennis match. Get tickets to the play. Buy book at the bookstore. Have lunch with old high school chum. Critical activities are generally more difficult, take longer, are more important, and involve more risk of failure. Talk to boss about the new project. Write my book. Take spouse to lunch to discuss how to make our average marriage great. One day, in preparing my own to-do list, I actually wrote the following items in this order. Call publisher about the new manuscript. Write newsletter article. Check on tenant in Unit 3D. Make my wife feel like the most important person in the world. That's how out of balance my life had gotten. The truth be told, the most important aspects of our lives rarely make an appearance on our to-do lists. Discover my purpose in life. Develop a deeper relationship with God. Love my children. Learn how to love everyone unconditionally. Don't succumb to the tyranny of the traditional to-do list. Turn it into a power list. Before you write something on your list, ask yourself, is this a 20 or is this an 80? Write your critical activities at the top and your trivial activities at the bottom. This forces you to constantly focus on your critical few activities. Work on the top of the list most of the time. Drop down to the bottom only when you want to take a break. Don't expect to get everything done every day. A little improvement every day, that's your goal. Better to work on only 3 critical items, even if you don't complete them, than to cross off 20 trivial things. Strategy 5. Reward yourself for doing the right things. Tell the truth. It feels good to cross things off your to-do list, doesn't it? Have you ever gotten to the end of your day and remembered that you accomplished something that wasn't on your to-do list? So you stopped, added it to your list, and then crossed it off. What a rush. A hit of pure pleasure. Only one problem. You've been rewarding yourself for doing the wrong thing. Like a laboratory rat, you've been training yourself to do the least important things first. Oops. There's a great book by Michael LeBoeuf, Ph.D., called GMP, The Greatest Management Principle in the World. Here's the book in a nutshell. The things that get rewarded get done. If you reward yourself for doing things that don't count, your to-do list will become a magnet for unimportant activities. Therefore, only reward yourself for doing the critical activities. If you do, the world will also reward you handsomely. The process of rewarding yourself is called positive reinforcement, and it's extremely powerful. Have you ever wondered how the trainers at SeaWorld get Shamu, the killer whale, to leap high out of the water on command? The trainer first gets Shamu to swim over to a pole placed at the bottom of the tank. When Shamu swims over the pole, he gets a fish. If Shamu doesn't swim over the pole, he gets nothing. Reward positive behavior, ignore the negative. Then the pole is raised several feet. If Shamu swims over the pole, he gets a fish. Under, and he gets nothing. If Shamu wants to eat, he soon learns what to do. Next, the pole is raised to water level. Shamu gets a lot of fish if he rolls over the pole. You get the idea. Within a short period of time, the trainer has raised the pole 10 feet above the water. Shamu gets a huge reward for jumping over the pole. Shamu is no dummy. He likes fish. And that's how you get a killer whale to jump out of water on command. Your brain operates exactly the same way. If you reward yourself for your most positive actions, you will get more of them, almost effortlessly. And if you really want to supercharge your day, follow the next strategy. Strategy 6. Do your FTF. Feared things first. Which activity on your list do you fear the most? That's your FTF. When you start your day, ask yourself, what's my FTF today? Start your day with that activity. Most people do just the opposite. They scan their to-do list and find something that they can cross off quickly. They do their fast things first, or the fun things first. Sometimes they even do first things first. But I believe you should tackle the feared things first. If you get that out of the way, the burden will be lifted and you will feel a surge of energy that will propel you through the rest of the day. Why is this? Generally, whenever you hesitate or resist doing something, there is a reason. Often it is fear. People are simply afraid to fail. Fear blocks us from doing our highly leveraged activities. Fear blocks our success. Some people would rather do nothing successfully than do what really counts and risk failing. Fear is too expensive a habit. So let's learn to recognize it, face it, tackle it, and move through it. Then reward yourself. Give yourself a verbal pat on the back. Take a short break. Notice how good it feels. Give Shamu a fish. By training yourself to do your FTF, you unconsciously urge yourself to tackle tougher tasks. Strategy 7. Do a daily power hour. Eisenhower said, "Plans are nothing. Planning is everything. Therefore, take a few minutes every day for planning. Although this planning session may take only 15 minutes, I call it a power hour." In Chapter 2, I talked about the importance of extending your planning horizon every day. Remember, the future doesn't just happen, you make it happen. If you don't plan your future, you are at the mercy of other people's plans. Therefore, when you get up tomorrow, plan your next 90 days. If tomorrow is January 1st, you should be planning what should happen on April 1st. This gives you 90 days to make sure that things go as planned. Planning is like a rehearsal. Every great actor rehearses many, many times before stepping on the stage. Yet we often step on the stage of life without rehearsing our performance beforehand. During your power hour, rehearse in your mind and visualize yourself performing your daily activities, the way you would like to see it done. Plan your day in your mind, and then go out and make your life conform to your vision. Most people get up in the morning with no idea what to do. They just merge into the flow of life and get carried along with the mass of humanity who have no goals, no plans, no future. Rise above all that. Let the wind of planning fill your wings and lift you up where you belong. Strategy 8. Exercise. Exercise is a high-leverage activity. It helps you work harder and longer and think more clearly. It increases your health span and your lifespan. While I exercise, I also listen to my tapes, thus layering those two activities together. Therefore, I'm exercising not only my body, but my brain at the same time. Speaking of which, Strategy 9. Layer your activities. Use your waiting time productively. I call this layering. If you're riding up an elevator, plan what you're going to say when you arrive at your appointment. If you're driving in your car, plug in an audio cassette instead of listening to music or mindless talk radio. Read while you're riding on the bus or in a taxi cab. Use every second as productively as you can, and you'll squeeze more into your life. Constantly ask yourself this question: is this the most productive use of my time? Strategy 10. Set specific goals for each income stream. One day, as I was aimlessly driving along the freeway with the flow of traffic, I suddenly remembered that I had an appointment. I glanced at my watch. I was late. Immediately, I began to focus. I stepped on the gas and found the fastest passing lanes. I made the freeway conform to me instead of me conforming to the flow of traffic. Goals are like that. It's easy to get caught up in the flow of traffic. If you know where you are going and when you need to be there, your brain automatically and unconsciously sorts through the confusing detail of life and notices the fastest passing lanes, the shortcuts, the routes that will advance you faster and more efficiently toward what you want. You don't have to agonize over every decision. This one habit will simplify your life and automatically make you more organized. The Hindus believe the mind is a very scattered organ that needs to be disciplined. The analogy they use is of an elephant going through a bazaar. An undisciplined elephant moves through the bazaar, its trunk swinging back and forth among the many shops and vendors, picking up apples and bananas and other interesting things, creating all kinds of havoc. A wise elephant trainer has the elephant carry a log with its trunk, so that when it walks through the bazaar of life, it does not pick up things as it goes along, but essentially focuses on its main goal, which is getting through the marketplace. Goals help you to focus, to keep your trunk occupied, as you walk through life so that you don't get distracted by a million other options. Set specific goals for each of your income streams this year. Give your goals a deadline and review them daily. Suppose you have 3 current income streams in your family and you want to enhance those 3 streams and add 3 more. This is what those goals might look like. By January 1st next year, we are planning on having 6 streams of income flowing into our life. Income stream 1, my job. Increase income by 10% by January 1st. I will make myself more valuable to my company. I will position myself so that I am perceived as a stream and not a leak, as a source of revenue and not an expense item. I will increase my income by 10% over last year. This increase will come from either salary, bonuses, stock options, or other rewards. Income stream 2, my spouse's job, same as above. Income stream 3, maximize company pension plans and/or individual pension plans. We will have the maximum allowable pension amounts deducted automatically from our bank account. We will administer these investments as much as possible to invest our money in the wisest places. Income stream 4, network marketing. Add an extra $500 per month by January 1st. We will investigate and find one Wave 3 company in the network marketing industry with a product that we are absolutely convinced will be beneficial to ourselves and our circle of influence. This product or service will be of such exceptional quality and value that we will be proud to introduce it to 12 associates this year. These 12 will be so impressed that they will find it almost impossible not to share it with others. This will generate an extra stream of at least $500 per month. Income stream 5. Buy at least one tax lien certificate at 20% interest by January 1st. We will save an additional 5% from each of our salaries with the specific intent of buying at least one tax lien certificate, so that we can begin earning much higher rates of return on our money. Income Stream 6. Decide on the next stream of income before January 1st. We will read, study, research, attend seminars, and draw up a specific action plan to enable us to launch at least one more income stream next year. Strategy 11. Engage in scattered focus. Since you have multiple streams you are trying to manage at one time, don't make the mistake of thinking of them all at the same time. The plate spinner focuses intently on getting each plate up and spinning, one at a time, focused until the plate is securely spinning, and then scattered while he looks for the next wobbly plate, focused and then scattered. Don't become overwhelmed by all your tasks. Select one task, focus. Give 100% attention to your task at hand. Push everything else to the background. Accomplish the task at hand, then scatter. Scan your list of critical activities, and pull up the next item for action. Strategy 12. Delegate. Delegation is to time what leverage is to money. When you give someone else a job to do, you are using the principle of leverage just as you would in real estate or any other money investment. You're letting someone else multiply your time. So, delegate as much as you can. What should you delegate? Your 80% activities. Some people have difficulty delegating their 80% low payoff tasks because they are perfectionists. They are afraid of failure. This attitude sets them up for ultimate failure, not having enough time for the most important tasks. The key to delegation is to give only lower leverage activities to subordinates. Even if the job is not done perfectly, the damage is minimal. After all, it is a low leverage activity. You might remember Moses' dilemma in the Bible. The children of Israel brought all of their problems to Moses personally until his father-in-law Jethro wisely counseled, "Choose able men, such as fear God, men of truth, to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s, and let them judge the people. Every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee." Exodus 18. Like Moses, learn to delegate the low payoff activities so you can have time to devote to the high payoff activities. You'll never be great without doing this. But what if you don't have anyone to delegate to? Then delegate your tasks to specific time slots in your day or week. I call this the 20% time and the 80% time. Critical time versus trivial time. Look at your normal day. Isn't there a time when you are naturally more productive, when your creative juices flow, when your energy is high? For some, it is in the morning. Others are more productive late at night. When is your high energy time? My low time is generally between 3 and 6 p.m. During this time, when my energies are at a low ebb, I schedule my low leverage activities, the fun, fast, and frivolous activities. During my most productive hours, my critical time, I work only on critical tasks. The key then is to bunch critical tasks into critical time and to bunch trivial tasks into trivial time. To say it differently, 20% tasks during 20% time and 80% tasks during 80% time. As your income increases, you simply won't have time to do it all. Therefore, delegate responsibility of each project to a separate project manager. Ask for a daily summary sheet from each income stream, listing the critical activities for the day and the progress achieved in the previous day. Demand daily accountability. The longer you go between reviews, the further off track your project can drift before you get it back on course. Strategy 13. Do it now. Get in the habit of doing it now. Procrastination is suicide on the installment plan. I found in teaching hundreds of thousands of people that it's not the knowledge that's lacking. What is really lacking is courage. You see, you can have all the knowledge in the world, and if you're afraid to act on it, it's worthless, isn't it? Do it now. Strategy 14. Do a 4-quadrant test at least once a month. Here's something I learned from Stephen Covey. At the end of one day, take a blank piece of paper and dissect it into 4 quadrants. Write down everything you did during that entire day and classify each activity under one of 4 broad categories or quadrants. Quadrant 1 is for routine things. Quadrant 2 is for things that happen unexpectedly. Quadrant 3 is for things that other people delegate to you. I call these OPMs, other people's monkeys. The fourth quadrant is for your dreams or goals. Do this exercise and you'll be surprised. If you're not careful, the routine things, emergencies, and other people's monkeys will take up most of your time. This will leave you with no time for working on your dreams. You must work on your dreams every day. You've got to make a daily deposit into your dream bank account. Otherwise, there will be nothing there to compound. Strategy 15. Learn to love the word no. The best time management tool is the word no. Be careful about taking on other people's monkeys. Strategy 16. Handle paper only once. Either delegate it, do it, file it, or throw it away. Strategy 17. Do it wrong the first time. Have you ever heard this saying? If it's worth doing right. Trout and Rise, in their excellent book Positioning, turn that logic upside down. They say, if it's worth doing lousy. If you wait until the time is right, until your ducks are all in a row, it will never get done. If it's important enough, you should be willing to act on it now, warts and all, and sculpt excellence out of the clay of imperfection. You must be willing to fail your way to success. Peters and Waterman, authors of In Search of Excellence, say the same thing in a different way. Instead of ready, aim, fire, they prefer ready, fire, aim. Strategy 18. Blitzing. Every hour on the hour, when you hear your watch beep or the chime of a distant clock tower, let that be your signal to focus intensely for a 10-minute period of time. You'll find that you get as much done in that 10-minute period of time as you've done in the previous hour. I call this blitzing. The beep is your cue to step on the gas and sprint for 10 minutes. Strategy 19. Return and review. Take 5 minutes at the end of your day to review what has transpired. Notice the things you did of which you are proud. Give yourself a mental pat on the back. Notice the things you did that needed improvement. Instead of beating yourself up, imagine what you could have done differently to change the outcome. Visualize yourself doing it the right way. Strategy 20. Challenge yourself daily. What makes you most productive? For me, it's deadlines and challenges. Studies show that creativity dramatically improves immediately before a deadline is reached. Maybe that's why I sometimes put things off, because I'm just so good the day before the project is due. When I challenge myself, my creativity soars. I love challenges so much that I even arranged to have my own name hidden inside the word challenge. Challenge yourself and your creativity will begin to soar. Strategy 21. Practice the speed of going slow. Finally, with all the talk of getting things done, I've saved the most important strategy for last. In his excellent book, Life Balance, Richard Eyre uses a catchy phrase to describe the necessity for balance in our lives. He calls it the speed of going slow. It's the conscious decision to work on all areas of your life constantly so that nothing is out of balance. There are 6 major resources in your life that need to be kept in constant balance, as shown in Figure 17.2. Being, brain, body, time, people, money. Let's take a brief look at these 6 areas of our lives. Your brain. The brain is the most powerful computer in the universe. They say that we use only a fraction of our potential, maybe 5%. If you could just improve the use of your brain by a tiny fraction, you would make massive improvements in your life. Your body. What an incredible tool it is. Your heart beats over 100,000 times a day without a single conscious thought on your part. Amazing, isn't it? Not to mention your eyes, ears, taste, and smell. What an incredible sensory apparatus. How is your body? Could you squeeze a decade or 2 more out of yourself by taking better care of your body now? Could you be more productive today by treating your body with more care? Could this lead to more money in your pocket? I think so. Your being. Some people call it spirit. Others call it soul. I call it being. It's your essence, your being. It's the part of you that's unique and eternal. Spending time on your spiritual side gives you perspective on the daily pressures of life. With perspective, you can be more grounded, more tranquil, more at peace. This is a very important part of my life. Life would be meaningless without it. According to a Gallup poll, about 95% of North Americans believe in a higher power. We just use different names: God, universe, higher power, Allah, nature, the spirit, and so forth. Many of our beliefs are very similar at the wholesale level. It's only at the retail level that the confusion sets in. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. If there is a higher power, an all-knowing intelligence or being, then what better partner could you have as you create multiple streams of income? This was Rockefeller's belief, and he gave away fully 10% of his income all his life. As I look back over my life, I realize that many of my most powerful income streams were almost impossible to plan. They just seemed to drop out of the sky. That's why I think it's important to work on your spiritual side. Perhaps you will be the conduit through whom the higher power will direct a special stream of income to bless the lives of many others. Time. Can you imagine anyone at the top of his or her profession who isn't organized? Kind of ridiculous, isn't it? How organized are you? If you'll practice the strategies in this chapter, you will be amazed at how much more effective you can become. People. What is life without people? People are the bottom line. How are your relationships? Could they be better? Which relationships do you want to improve? What small thing could you do in the next hour to improve that relationship? Money. Finally, what about money? Whoever has enough? We all know that money doesn't buy happiness, but we'd like to find out for ourselves, right? What happens when one area of your life gets out of balance? Ever known someone who was strong in one area but neglected the other areas? Look at Howard Hughes, a giant in money, but a pygmy everywhere else. That's not success. Ever known someone who was focused so intently on success outside the home that the marriage suffered and maybe even died? Ever known someone with a lot of great ideas that never got off the ground because he or she was disorganized? Ever heard of someone who neglected his or her body in pursuit of money and died of a premature heart attack? And then there's the person who seems to have it together in all the other areas but just can't seem to make any money. You can be strong in one area, but a chain is no stronger than its weakest link. Sooner or later, unless you get your total act together, your Achilles heel will prevent you from reaching the top. Can you think of any examples of this? Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, John Belushi. Can you think of any politicians with an Achilles heel? What about television evangelists? The list is endless. So what's your weak link, your Achilles heel? If you don't strengthen that weak link, life will exploit it. In tennis, the first thing your opponent does is to size you up, looking for your weak spot. Maybe it's your backhand. It doesn't matter how good your forehand is, or your lob, or your approach to the net. Your opponent plays to that weak spot until you're blown off the court. Game, set, match. Your history. Until you improve your backhand, you're never going to rise in the rankings. You'll notice the people you really admire, the ones who make it big and keep it big, are those who have it together in all 6 areas of their life. There is such a temptation to jump in and pursue our goals with single-minded determination. We tell ourselves, well, once I make my first million, I'll have plenty of time for relationships. Or, as soon as my material side is taken care of, I'll focus on my physical side or my spiritual side. In the race between the tortoise and the hare, it's very frustrating to watch your competition speed off up ahead while you take time to balance your life. But the hare is going to have a flat tire up ahead and waste a lot of time trying to fix it. Then you'll pass him up and leave him forever in your dust. It's a proven fact that balanced individuals have only 10% as many serious illnesses as those who are maladjusted. So slow down, strengthen your weaknesses, regain your balance, and work on all 6 areas of your life daily. Sink your pylons deep into the earth so that the skyscraper of your life will be built on a firm foundation. This is my hope for you, a life overflowing with abundance of all kinds, multiple streams of income, joyful relationships, boundless energy and health, a quick mind, and a strong spirit.